So in this video, we'll be discussing how can we use Python to get the connections with MySQL, and as well as how can we store data, retrieve and deletion, and all other MySQL operations using Python. So in this integration, first we'll discuss what all things we should have before that connection, and we'll discuss how do we connect to each other, okay, using Python and MySQL. So let me install MySQL first. So I'm just simply searching for MySQL for Mac since I'm using Mac. So this I have selected the version, it's already selected, Mac OS and all, and you can just download this. Okay, if you are using Windows, you can just directly search for Windows instead of Mac. Okay, and you can select okay, and you can select the particular version. Must installer or zip work, you can select whatever you want. Okay, after the installation in Mac, you can able to see in system settings, you're able to see the MySQL server is running. If it is not running, you can just start it by start MySQL server. So I have it's already running in my system. So now next we should install Python. Since I have already installed Python in my system, it is there. So I'm going to install a module which is nothing but MySQL connector Python, which it is a module which is responsible for the MySQL or Python connections and everything. So we'll be installing that. Okay, so for that I'm gonna write a command python 3 -m pip -m. I'm using pip module. Okay, m for module pip install MySQL connector Python. Okay, it will get installed. Meanwhile, let's open a VS Code and we'll create a new file. Python MySQL. Okay, yeah, it's already installed. Okay, the version is, you can see the version MySQL connector Python. So I'm gonna import the module first, which we installed just now. MySQL dot connector. So first we need to create a connection, right? So I'm gonna create a connection variable, which is I'm using connection, and we have to provide three things for this connection. First one is host. So as you can see that our MySQL server is running on our local host. It will be localhost itself, and at the time of installation we'll be providing a user and password. Okay, so MySQL dot connector dot connect. First thing is host, which is nothing but localhost, and user mine is root, which is a default user, and password I've given password like root. Okay, and finally the database which you want to connect. So you know that we have installed the MySQL DB, but we haven't created a database yet. So first we'll go to MySQL command line. Okay, so I'm gonna open here. Let me make it bigger. Okay, MySQL. Sometime it will come by just entering MySQL. Okay, so I'm gonna write MySQL with credentials MySQL -u, which is user root -p root. Okay, yes, I got it. So first thing is we have to create a database. In that database we'll be creating a table. So first let me show you what all databases we have now. Okay, So for my personal purpose, I already created two database. Apart from that, by default, MySQL has some system database performance schema, MySQL information schema, which is nothing but default databases which MySQL use for its purposes and all. So we'll be creating a test database or student database. Okay, let's create a new database, student. Okay, semicolon. Okay, okay, our student it is here. So we have to use student next, right? So for that, I'm going to use student. So I'm inside it. So database change to student. So here I'm going to create a new table. So if you're not familiar with MySQL commands, you can just go to any other websites where you can see and learn all the MySQL queries. So okay, so that's how you can learn it. So for now, as a sample, I'm going to create a table. Create student info. Sorry, create table. Create table student info. Okay, so now I'm gonna define all the variables, all the attributes for this student information is needed. Okay, first let it be name varchar. Okay, which is the size of this variable. I'm defining 20 as variable. Okay, and next name. Okay, we can go for admission number, right? Admission number int. I'm just giving int and marks. Also, I'm just giving int and setting primary key as admission number. Create table student info. Okay, name watcher. Okay, so some error I got. Okay, primary key. Okay, and now it's created. Show tables. Okay, I have student info in my DB. So now I'm going to insert some values into this table. So for that, I'm using insert in command insert into student info values. For now, I'm gonna give two set of values. Okay, first one, let it be. So what all variables we have given? Oh yeah, name, admission number, and marks, right? So name, let it be Raj, and admission number is 1, and primary, oh yeah, marks is 100. Okay, so next record is, this is the first record, and I'm going for second record, Ram 2, okay, 99. Okay, so another column doesn't match value count at row 1. Name varchar integer and marks int. Error. Oh yeah, I think just need to pause the record as it is. No need to couple up. Okay, so two records affected. So let's take the table ones. Student info. Okay, here's our table. So now we have a table, and as well as we have a yeah, we have a database, and as well as we have a table. So now we can just easily connect it to this database, and we can access those details. So I'm going to db yeah, Python script again, student info. Sorry, what was our, yes, just student. DB name is just student. Okay, so this is our connection. So we are making a connection to our database, and yeah, we need to check if that connection is true or false. So if connection dot is connected, will be printing, yeah, connected successfully. Okay, so else connection failure. Okay, okay, now the connection yeah, we have made a connection, and now the thing is we have to execute a command to check whether the tables are there or not, and whether we can access those tables. So before that, let me run this code. Okay, so this is our code. So we are trying to connect our MySQL. So let's check if it is working or not. So this is our Python MySQL. Yeah, connected successfully. So now our job is to fetch some data from our table which we have created just now, student info. So for that, first I'm going to create a cursor object, which is nothing but we need a object in order to communicate with the MySQL server. So for that, I'm going to use a cursor. So this cursor object will be used for every other operations in order to communicate with our MySQL server. So using that connection, I just initialize our object, cursor object. So using that cursor, I'm going to execute a command, which is nothing but select query, select start from student info. Okay. Now we have executed this code, and we have to fetch all the records which resulted in this command. We have to fetch all the records of this result set. So for that, I'm gonna take all the rows records into rows variable, cursor dot fetch all. Okay, so all the records are in rows, so we need to print every row. Print row. So after that, we'll be closing our connection. After all the use, we need to close our connection. Okay, so good to go. Yeah, here we are. So as you know that in our DB, we just created some two records, Raj Ramu with admission number 1, 2, and marks. We got all the details here. So we just printed. So in next session, we'll be discussing how can we do all the queries, and how can we some more detail we'll be discussing. And I'll be giving a documentation where you can just go through all the functions related to MySQL connector Python. So that's how you can familiar with Python MySQL integration. So I hope you all understand. If you have any doubts, just ping it on comment box. Okay, thank you.